My home life, it was pretty rough. Some of the hardest things was like not having food in the refrigerator and stuff like that, or like just not having money because my mom was being irresponsible, spending money like on drugs and stuff.
One night, I guess the older brother was coming over to take Demerius out of the house because Demerius was scared, and his mother had a meltdown. She tased Demerius. Uh, she threatened his sister into stabbing or attempting to stab Demerius with a knife.
A home that drug use and drugs being sold and seeing violence, that the reason why he came to care the first time, his mother ran over someone while the kids were in the car. So he's seen these things on a day-to-day basis, dealing with scared to ask for food, being bullied by others. It was something that would change anybody.
I knew for a pretty young age actually what drugs were because just being around it, and sometimes my mom would like, instead of like buying food for the house, she'd go buy drugs. And I know that she done like weed and wet, which is like embalming fluid. It really messes up your brain a lot. So you're not really how you say, in a good state of mind to even make a good decision for yourself, let alone for little kids.
The mother had him doing certain things that he shouldn't have been doing, such as selling drugs at times. Demerius' life was somewhat like, how do I make it day by day? As for not as an adult, but as a child, how I'm gonna feed myself. And been told by your parent, like, I know how to feed myself, you need to learn on your own as well, at the age of 11.
Well, he originally came in, I guess, at about the age of 5, and then they'd come back into care at around 11 years old. And at that time was when Brandon had him as a CPS caseworker. His mother's parental rights were terminated at that time, and they were sent to his aunt as their permanent managing conservator. So that case had closed, and Brandon had lost contact at that point. When they came back into care again, we found out at that point that the aunt had been threatened by the mother. The mother threatened to kill the aunt if she didn't give her back, and I quote, her checks, because her children she got Social Security checks for each child.
And I remember the night of the November 3rd that my oldest brother told me, he was like, hey, they're separating us, and I just need you to be the big brother to your little sister and make sure they don't separate y'all and just stay together. And I remember just crying, and my brother just telling me, hey, I need you to just man up for me.
Demerius and his sister were my second case. I'd been helping with one case, and that was coming to a close, and I got a call from Brandon Drake, and he said, look, Coy, he goes, I got a special one I need you to take care of for me. And he goes, these two were the first case I ever had as a CPS caseworker. And they're important to me, and really, really think that they could use you. And said Demerius is a good kid, but he needed a little direction and some tough love too.
I remember going out, introducing them to for the first time. It was like a bond automatically. And Coy never let him down throughout that process and kept his word from day one with Demerius. Well, and one thing about Coy, he's an open individual and he's a loving guy, and he's straight to the point. Coy really advocated for Demerius in numerous ways. He advocated for Demerius in his education.
In foster care, I went to a total of 6 different high schools. It was kind of hard just moving and just like meeting new people, and just, you know, it kind of made me build a wall around myself because I didn't want to build friendships and then leave.
The reason why he was moved was not his fault. It was just simple reasons. A placement will break down, a caregiver decides not to foster any children any longer. His level of care would drop, meaning that he would have to be moved because he was doing so well in the placement. And that affected him in his education. So if you move from 5 different schools in 1 year, you can imagine you're going to be behind.
I had it court ordered with Judge Griffith, and at this point we're in Judge Griffith's court in the CBS Special Projects Court for kids who are in permanent conservatorship of the state. And I had Judge Griffith court order that he not be moved again until he graduated from high school.
He contacted the people in place to make sure this is being done and he wasn't slipping through the cracks.
Child advocates, well, to me, it gave me a more of a stable father figure in both Curry Wheeler and Brandon Drake. They were like a good constant stability for me.
The one thing Demerius had told me, he said, look, I just want to go to school. I want to graduate. I want to go to college. I want to be an attorney. But I think that, Brandon and I gave him that direction. We made sure that he didn't fall through the cracks, because I think that otherwise there's a very good chance that he would have fallen through those cracks and he never would have had the chance to get through high school. I think the fact that he had somebody watching him and pushing him to get through and to do it and to let him know that you can get this done.
We're able to see Demerius graduate from high school, which was a huge moment for us. I mean, for me and Coy sat next to each other, and I was trying to keep it from Coy, but yeah, it was a very tear-jerking moment. I remember telling Coy that the first time I met Demerius is when I was picking him up from a foster home and I was taking him to his aunt's home to be placed with his siblings, and he was bawling, crying. I mean, tears everywhere. I was putting him in my back seat. I was getting all this stuff, putting it in my trunk, and I would say, it's gonna be all right, you'll be fine. And seeing him walk across the stage, I was the guy bawling, because it was just an amazing feeling to see a child that started from here at the age of 11, and now he's 19 years old, graduating from high school, and with intentions to go to college to help other children in need. And I believe that's the main reason why we're here, is to break that cycle, of course, of abuse, neglect.
Watching him walk across the stage at graduation was a special feeling. That's right up there. You get to see the work you do and see the benefits of it. And that was pretty special.
I guess it was kind of a big deal because I was like the first out of all my siblings to actually walk the stage and actually get my diploma. And like the best thing that ever for them to ever do was just show up to my graduation. I'm a freshman at Sam Houston State, and I just love it. It's just a great experience all around. Well, I particularly want to be a federal judge because I also want to give back to my community, actually just help around and just help Houston. I also plan on being a caseworker for a couple of years because I just want to help other kids like me.
The case ended when Demerius was awarded sole custody to the state, meaning that he was going to age out of care, meaning he did not have any legal guardians as far as parents, a mother or a father.
I choose to be an advocate because I want to give a voice to people that can't speak for themselves, that might not have the resources or the ability to do so. It allows me to stand up and make sure that they're taken care of and they don't fall through the cracks. The best thing I can do is to go out and find other me's, and to help child advocates train and find other me's and other volunteers, because if we're able to serve all these kids, maybe we could have gotten to Demerius's older brothers before they got incarcerated and before they failed, were aged out of the system and guided them a little better.
I know Child Advocates made a huge difference to who he is today. And, we're still in his life. It's one of these chapters that we're on the next chapter, but the book is not closed yet.
I don't think Demerius would be in trouble, but I don't think he'd be a high school graduate. And I don't think he'd be in college.
I wouldn't see him in college, unfortunately. And I know he's a great kid. Once again, I've been knowing him for a long time, and it's scary to think like that. And certain things happen to us in this world that changes us for the better or for the worse. And I believe having child advocates in his life was for the better. That's the best way I can say it.